Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kind for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard, El Senor ABQ, who's gone for 10 minutes. We also have in the house Yvette Avery Herod says, afternoon, PDR Posse. We have Patrick McNair says, meow from Houston, Texas. Of course, Yvette is from Atlanta, Georgia, and Radnin is from Brooklyn, New York. We also have in the house E2247 from all over. Yes, E2247, sad to hear about Rob Reiner, and it seems that his son has allegedly committed that crime. That is so sad. We understand he was on the bad substances. We don't know, but anyhow, that is what's being alleged. Welcome aboard, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Welcome aboard Politics Done Right. And of course, in our other chat, which we've missed the first few dozen, but we have, of course, Lynette Oldpiss Guy, Gianna Destino, Michelle Jacobson. Jay Scott says, YYYRTN, John Wren. You know, I don't know what that means, but I'll try to figure it out. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Kingwood, Texas. We also have Marilyn Holst. Welcome aboard, Hal Peterson. Is it still Monday? Yes, it's still Monday, Bruce. So son las lunes. Yes, es el lunes. Okay, let's see who else we got here. Lot more, but anyway, just with your city and state, and I'll be more than happy to call you out. Anyway, we have an interesting thing that we're dealing with here. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started with what's going on in Houston, Texas, which really applies to the entire. Check this out. Democrats have got to start taking control, which is what's happening. In other words, no more blue dogs, no more, what's the word? Anyway, what I want to do is tell you that over the weekend on Sunday, we had our county executive committee meeting. And in that county executive committee meeting, there was a vote to admonish the Houston mayor, who has been carousing with some MAGA folks. Specifically, he's been working with ICE. He's been having fundraisers for our congressman, our local congressman. He's also there's a section of Houston that is pretty much, our gay brothers and sisters have the crosswalk with the colors of the the color ribbons and that sort of stuff. And he covered all of that. I mean, he just turned himself into a MAGA appeaser, our mayor. Nothing democratic about that in a democratic city. Houston, Texas is a democratic city. Austin, Texas is a democratic city. El Paso, Texas is a democratic city. Dallas, Texas, a democratic city. All our major population centers are democratic cities. In fact, Houston is, in fact, or not only Houston, Texas is, in fact, a democratic state if we actually would vote. The problem is our structures have destroyed the will of people to vote, which I think is silly, which I think it's the fault of the Democratic Party proper. You have to keep on going through your entire base. But We had Jasmine Crockett, before I get into the mayor, Jasmine Crockett visited us on yesterday at the CEC meeting. That's the executive committee, the county executive committee meeting for the Democratic Party. And she had quite a bit to say. And I think what I want to do is I want to play her spiel because I really enjoyed what she had to say. And I think more people need to just hear this, learn this, react to this. So let's go ahead. I'm queuing it up as we speak, so bear with me. I am late and I have nothing queued up. All the levers are being done on the fly as we speak. But here we go with Jasmine Crockett at the CEC meeting. Okay.
I do want you to know how much I value you and value your dedication to this process. You see, most people don't know that when I was just a little younger than I am now, won't tell you how old, I actually started off in politics. I became a county party chair. And I was a county party chair in East Texas, in Bowie County, Texas. And, you know, things are interesting in rural parts of Texas. But I was never going to give up. So I spent most of my time behind the scenes supporting other candidates. Listen, I believe that we can absolutely turn Texas blue. But I don't believe that that is up to one person. I believe that it is a team. And it's going to take everybody in this room and everybody that y'all go out and touch to get it done. There you go. We can do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, well, Congresswoman, you're crazy. Ain't no turning Texas blue. And I'm here to tell them this. It's actually not even about turning Texas blue. We are blue. Hey, y'all act like y'all don't believe it. Yeah. We need some more precinct chairs. We are blue. When you look at the state of Texas, we're a non-voting state. That's the problem. We have one of the lowest voter turnouts in the entire country. A lot of people looked at Georgia and never thought that they could end up with 2 senators in one cycle, but they did. Do you know how they got there? They turned people out. The more people that vote, the better our chances are of winning. Why do you think the Republicans are constantly going and introducing voter suppression bills? Because they understand your power. The policies that we're getting right now, they're not popular with anybody, including Trump's own base. No one likes the idea of waking up not knowing whether or not they're going to have Social Security. No one likes the idea of waking up not knowing whether or not their Medicaid or Medicare is going to disappear. No one likes waking up knowing that they're paying their fair share in taxes while billionaires are paying nothing. No one likes that. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I am here to tell you that we have a message for all Texans, and not just some Texans. As rural Texans see that their hospitals are shutting down, that is because of their policies, not ours. It is important that you go and spread the good news. Listen, it's a Sunday right now, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get out in these streets and bring them on in, just like you would bring them into the church. You're gonna have to tell them that we were divided. And divided you fall, united we stand. So I'm here to tell you that Texans are ready to stand united. Because our policies will win. Up and down the ballot, it will be wins for all Texans. Getting broadband expanded, making sure that we've got good paying jobs. We finally need to raise the minimum wage. We've got work to do, and we can do it if we just put the right people in office. So instead of having a senator that wants to ignore the 30 million people that they were elected to serve, how about we get a senator that decides that they understand what it means to serve the people? So with that, I know y'all got a lot of business going on. So I'm just going to say, if enough is enough, then it's time for us to stand up and let them know that we are Texas tough. God bless you all.
All of
our country. Yes, and we had a lot to do last night. Specifically, right after that, we had to vote on whether to admonish the mayor. Well, let me tell you something interesting because this mayor has done a lot of harm to quite a lot of people. Specifically, even some of our immigrant communities, he's done harm to. So there I found Cesar Espinosa. Cesar Espinosa is the director of FIEL. It's an organization that work with immigrants out here. And he had a particular name that he had for our mayor, which I think you'll find kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it. This occurred as well out there. Cesar Espinosa, what is the name of your group again?
It's called FIEL, yes.
And explain what is it that FIEL does.
We are the largest immigrant-led civil rights organization in the greater Houston area. Yes.
Now, recently, right now you are here at a CEC meeting, the County Executive Committee meeting for the Democratic Party. And here we're about to give an admonishment to the mayor for actually really not supporting democratic values and the things that he did. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is because you went to city council yourself to really challenge the mayor. And the mayor came out with a few statements that garnered him a new acronym that you use. Tell me a little bit about that story.
So first of all, I'm here as an individual today. Today we are here because as a community advocate, we fight for families. We fight to uplift the community's voice. A few weeks ago, we were there with a family, and this family has undergone challenges because of the collaboration that exists between HPD and ICE. And to sum up a very difficult case, this kid, autistic boy of 15 years old, was in detention for 50 days because HPD decided to turn him over to federal authorities. Now, in all of this, there has been a lot said about this family that we do not agree with. There's been a lot of said that has been everything short of the truth. It's been a lot of lies that the mayor and other people have said at council. So that's why we gave Mayor Whitmire the new name of Mayor Whitliar.
Now, Whitliar, and again, he actually tried to launch an accusation on you in public. Isn't that something that you could have some what should I say? Legal recourse?
At this time, politics is politics, so we want to focus on the important things, which is making sure that we advocate for this family, and we'll give the mayor a pass on this one. But at the end of the day, the truth will come out. The truth speaks for itself, and the only thing that we do is uplift families and help them tell their truth.
I know you're speaking as a private citizen now. As a private citizen as well, do you expect this resolution to pass?
I hope that this resolution passes, and I hope that people hold him accountable. All people. There's a list being floating around of people who are supporting him on paper, and I want people to keep that list so that we can know on who to hold accountable in the future for whatever actions this mayor does against the community, the immigrant community, but the community in general here in Houston.
Cesar Espinosa, FIEL, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right. And yes, he talked about that list of people who supported the mayor. Unfortunately, some of the politicians on the list are friends of mine. And I was very disappointed in several of them and went to their tables and civilly pointed that out, that this is a time that we don't have to play around with play like Democrats. We don't have time for make-believe Democrats. We don't have times for dinos. We don't have time for a false moderation. This is a time where we have to show the American people that we are there for them. And for people who think, well, Texas is too conservative. There's not a damn thing conservative about Texas. Let me tell you about Texas. What's occurring here in Texas is that we need to turn Texas into a voting state. We don't need to appease borderline Republicans. We are supporting Democrats, Republicans, and independents with our policies. We don't need to to water down our policies to make things bad and then have a status quo. Want to read you what I wrote for that article? Let me also put that on the screen because I think it is important. And folks, for those of you that are not in the Houston area, this applies to all over the country. This is the time in all of your executive committee meetings where all the precinct chairs for all the counties work. It is time to neuter all of those who will hold back democratic and progressive progress. Because we lose elections because we don't deliver. We moderated on Obamacare, and that's the reason the prices are zooming up. Because we didn't do our job. No, this is not the time for moderation. This is the time to tell the people this is what we're going to do for you. I wrote, in what can only be described as a time of reckoning, the vote by the Harris County Democratic Precinct chairs was not even close. The voting for the resolution of endorsement moratorium for Mayor John Whitmire passed by 70% of the precinct chairs, 186 to 80. 186 to 80. It occurred at the last Harris County Democratic Party County Executive Committee meeting of 2025. It said, the Harris County Democratic Party condemns the political behavior of John Whitmire and finds that his conduct undermines the values and mission of the Democratic Party, warranting denial of endorsement in all future elections effective immediately, which means he will never, ever be endorsed by the party. It was clear that there would be an eventful evening beyond the presence of a few fighting words from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who electrified the audience before the CEC got down to business. There was a lot of jockeying around to secure the vote, as many of the rank and file precinct chairs were encouraged to do the right thing as deterrents from the neoliberals and dinos from further harming the party's values. One must remember, the Democratic Party has a lot of grassroots rebuilding to do, and appeasing and a fraudulent, evil, and lawless administration and its sycophants are not the way to win 2026. Donald Trump has brought the financial stability of the poor and middle class to the brink with his immigration, ICE, tariffs, healthcare policies, and his grift. Only politicians willing to fight for the American people without acquiescing to Trump, MAGA, and the right must be supported. Precinct Chair Cameron Coach Cam Campbell must be commended, along with his cohort, for navigating the Democratic Party process to bring this admonition to fruition. Corralling 70% of the Democratic precinct chairs to vote for a controversial, though necessary, resolution against a Democratic politician is no easy task, but he did it. These are the people who actually went ahead and in writing put support for the mayor. I hope that I hope that they see the direction of the precinct chairs. This weren't, the mayor answered and said a whole bunch of left-wing precinct chairs. Well, if he's saying 70% of the Democratic Party is all these crazy lefties, so be it. The fact of the matter is he was admonished. One must strongly urge those who voted against the resolution and showed their support in writing for John Whitmire to understand how support for a Democratic mayor who has chosen to align himself with an administration that hurts his constituents will be evaluated. It further demoralizes their constituents, strengthening their apathy towards the political process. In other words, a vote in support of this mayor would have created further apathy in the Democratic base. Thank God, by an overwhelming margin, the Harris County Democratic County Executive Committee did the right thing. They did the right thing. And earlier this morning, we had a call in from the organizer who, through grassroots methods, actually got this very important piece passed. And I want you to listen to him. And for those that are outside of Texas, this is the template. Remember, Harris County, where Houston is at, is considered a bellwether county in the entire nation. They look at Harris County as a measure because of its demographics, a very clean demographic of all kind of folk. They use us as a democratic, as a bellwether of the country. I want you to check out what my brother Cam Campbell had to say. Let's go to Coach Cam. Coach, how you doing?
Berto, good morning. Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, let me just first introduce you. Coach Cam is a precinct chair in the Harris County Democratic Party, an activist as well. And Coach Cam was a leader or one of the organizers of executing a very important feat yesterday at the CEC meeting. You know, Coach, I wanted to actually get you on camera there, but I had to bail out of there because I had other commitments. But thank you for calling in. Tell us what happened yesterday at the Houston Democratic Party County Executive Committee meeting.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a build-up over 8 or 9 months, but last night, overwhelmingly, a vote of 186 to 80, we aligned as a party. We decided to come together as a party and send Mayor Whitmire a very clear message that he will not be able to seek our endorsement for the upcoming race or any races that he may seek moving forward.
Tell us why it is that you organized that movement. What was his, como se dice, delito? What was his crime, if you will?
Yeah, I'd like to address that. And by way, I've heard a few talking points or critiques I think it makes sense to address as well. You know, we gave this speech yesterday. You have 2 minutes to make your points, and you're kind of, rambling them out, and you really can't unpack some of these points. The first thing I'll say is, again, as a coach, you never want to kick anybody off your team, right? Like every player you have on your team, you have them there because you think they're an asset and they're going to make you better. So, to have a person on the team that's the mayor, you definitely want that person on your team, right? So I'm saying that to say the actions that the mayor took were so egregious that it was clear that the team would be better removing that person from the team and uniting and working without that person. So folks who disagree on the mayor's policies, on the mayor's ideology, that disagree with the rainbows being torn up and some of the stuff with the streets, the budget. My goodness, a lot of folks disagree with the cooperation with HPD, with ICE. Those are things that obviously a lot of us really, really disagree with. But what made it untenable for him to remain on the team was he betrayed the team. There's really only one thing you can do. There's a whole bunch, people talk about what's a good Democrat, what's a bad Democrat. It's really hard to pin down the definition of a good Democrat, right? But it's very easy to pin down the definition of a bad Democrat. A bad Democrat's actions to undermine and weaken the party. At the top of the year, Mayor Whitmire hosted and fundraised for Republican congressional elected in Congressional 2, Dan Crenshaw. And that itself became a non-starter and a disqualifier. So that was the basis of this action.
Now, it's amazing because some people just said, he has to work with Dan Crenshaw. That is ridiculous. Dan Crenshaw is not a friend of the middle class. Dan Crenshaw is not a friend of the poor. If you take a look at the policies that he supports, including his affiliation with MAGA has done, any politician who associates with self, albeit and especially with funding, can't tell you how proud one has to be that this vote wasn't even close as far as saying you are not one of us. This vote was not close, but I think it was a vote that's necessary because I wrote an article last night and I mentioned your name as being one of the leaders that actually got something done. Because too often, Cam, one allows what I call posers that don't have your interest just because they have a label on them to simply support them. And what you guys said was, hell no. And you didn't say hell no by a little. 70% of the precinct chairs. 70% of the precinct chairs says we have no use for you. And that was a great job that you did.
Appreciate that so much. And I think that while we're speaking of this was a team win. And I appreciate the fact that you continue to say we, right? Because this was a ton of activists, a ton of precinct chairs, and folks working their tails off to the bone. Not a single dollar was raised or earned or put out. This wasn't paid support, paid staff, as much as heavy of a lift as it was. Some resources, I'm sure, would have been appreciated and needed for the amount of work that folks put in. This was $0, 0 pennies up against a $10 million war chest. So this actually was a grassroots, a grass tops movement versus money.
What I liked as well is, like, I spoke to a few people who signed the letter supporting the mayor, and above and beyond showing my disappointment with them, and many of these are friends, above and beyond showing the disappointment, I did, however, there are a lot of good people that had their name on that list. It shows you how the only way to break the machine is doing it at the grassroots, the way you did it. I saw some of the major leaders, they made sure to keep their name off. Like I said, I understand the political pressure that many were under. But again, you showed that grassroots movement works. But more importantly, before March primaries in Texas, all of those who don't follow the values, the orthodoxy that believe in people, the orthodoxy that goes ahead and say people first, they need to be out before those primaries in order to ensure the primaries elect people of values. Thank you very much, Coach. And give me a last word before we move on.
Yeah, in closing, I'd say people have enjoyed dancing on the graves of Democrats all year. The brand is in the tank. People don't know what we stand for. That may be true in other places. I can't speak on that. I live in Texas. I live in Harris County. I can speak on the Democratic Party being well and alive here. We're fired up. We just had a fantastic win over the weekend at City Council, and we've got about 90 days until we begin to kick tail again. So these primaries are here, guys. Primaries are all about competition. It's a friendly pregame match before the championship in November. So for those who are risk averse and afraid of competing, roll your sleeves up, because we've got to get a little better so we can go win in November.
Thank you very much for your good work, Coach. And you keep it up, and you have the support of a hell of a lot of people. All right, brother?
Hey, team effort, guys. Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye. And that is what we're talking about. It's starting right here in Harris County. It's a new Democratic Party, a Democratic Party that is not trying to be Republican light, is not trying to appease to people. After all, when those rural hospitals close in our rural areas, it is Democrats are the ones that are passing legislation to make sure our rural brothers and sisters are taken care of. When that SNAP benefit that many rural people are dependent on because there's so little work in rural areas, it's Democratic policies that's going to get them their SNAP. For all those plants that are closing from Ohio, the packing plants, etc., it is Democrats who are going to be passing those laws to support our rural brothers and sisters, or city brothers and sisters, or ex-urban brothers and sisters, or suburban brothers and sisters. We need to pick up that bull by the horn, and hold it and walk it with the heads up high, and don't let the force of the conservative orthodoxy mess with the message by trying to bring all the extraneous trans and 10 command. Do not even engage in that. Zero engagement. If they talk about trans, I am going to get you health care. I'm going to make sure that your parents have the health care they need, the Medicare they need, the whatever. If they bring up gay, whatever, the same thing. I love my gay brothers and sisters. Let's talk about the economic survival of rural areas. Let's talk about keeping those hospitals open. We must command the narrative. The reason they have won and have so many people indoctrinated and going out of their minds with fear is because we have allowed them a narrative that first of all, that makes no sense. And secondly, that we should not be engaged in. Our message is economic, economic, economic. Social justice will fall into place with economics. People will say, well, what about racial justice, etc.? Hey, if I've got economic, I don't care who loves me or whatever. We are going to talk economics, economics, economics. Nothing more, nothing less. Healthcare is economics. Social justice is economic. All these items fall under the economic domain. Don't listen to many of the academic intelligentsia that would want to say, oh, we need to speak. No, Economics, economics, economics. Let's remember that, folks. That's all we as Democrats will speak about. People say, well, what about voter rights? If they take our voter rights away, economics, you know why? Because if we speak economics, we're talking to MAGA. If we speak economics, we're talking to most people in this country, 60% are a paycheck away from the poorhouse. So even if they try to put some areas off the voter suppression, our votes not just coming from the voter suppressed areas, they're coming from everywhere. Economics, economics, economics. And tell your friends, that's all we talk. We're not going to get into substantive discussion on whether a trans person has more muscle mass. I'm not getting into that. I'll let the scientists take care of that kind of stuff. That's it. What is the word, folks? Economics, economics, economics. And you know what I'm starting to find out? I'm starting to find out that Democrats are starting to hit the point. I want you to listen to what had happened to Kristi Noem, because she went into, as opposed to trying to appease these folks on immigration, because many people thought that MAGA and conservatives just want to get rid of immigrants. Well, they're finding out the truth now, and they're kind of getting worried right now. Let's look at how Kristi Noem got hammered for her lies, etc. Check this out.
I do want you to know how much I value you and value your dedication to this process. You see, most people don't know that when I was just a little younger than I am.
That is a big oopsie daisy. All right, let me rephrase it again. Kristi Noem appeared in front of Congress, and as she appeared in front of Congress, a congressman made a complete fool out of her and showed that she's nothing but a lying machine. Let's take a look at what happened to her, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported?
Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD. Many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you to remember that
Madam Secretary, the man behind you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He is a Navy combat veteran who served our country in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to our country legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old. She has lived here for 48 years. Because of you, Jim's wife, Donna, has been in prison for the last 4 months. She did not come here illegally, and she has never committed any crime other than writing 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. She is currently in prison and facing deportation. Ms. Noem, will you thank Mr. Brown for for his service to our country.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your service to our country.
Now, what possible explanation can there be for locking up his wife for 4 months when she has committed no crime other than writing a couple of bad checks for $80?
Sir, it is not my prerogative, my latitude, or my job to pick and choose which laws in this country get enforced.
You have broad discretion as the secretary. You can issue parole. You can do all kinds of things, but you're choosing not to. Will you commit again to just reviewing Donna's case and reuniting this combat veteran with his beloved wife, who also loves this country?
I will review the case.
Now, Madam Secretary, you've already heard the story of Lance Corporal Alejandro Barranco, the United States Marine veteran who is behind you, who also has 2 brothers who are United States Marines. Will you thank Lance Corporal Barranco for his service?
Thank you for your service.
His father, Narcisco Barranco, is a landscaper in California who has lived peacefully in our country for 30 years and has no criminal record. Last spring, while he was mowing the lawn at an IHOP, ICE agents tackled him in the street and imprisoned him for weeks. A peaceful, hard-working man who raised 3 sons to be United States Marines. We need men of that character in this country. Again, as Secretary, you have broad discretion. Will you consider Lance Corporal Barranco's father for parole in place to stay in our country, owing to the fact that he has contributed to our country by raising 3 United States Marines?
This is an opportunity to remind everybody that every person that's in this country illegally has an opportunity to voluntarily go home and come back the right way.
He raised 3 United States Marines.
We will facilitate that.
He has been living here peacefully, doing his job for 30 years. You have discretion. You are choosing not to use it. Madam Secretary, you promised America that you would go after the worst of the worst. But these people are not the worst of the worst. A Purple Heart recipient, a military spouse, the father of 3 Marines. And it's not just veterans and military families. You are locking up and deporting children with cancer, mothers with babies in the NICU, United States citizens. There are many problems with your leadership, but the biggest problem is this. You don't seem to know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Go after the bad guys. Go after the terrorists. Do not go after veterans, Marines, children,
Gentlemen's
United
time's
States
expired.
citizens. I yield back.
This just identifies how evil this woman is, representing an evil administration. There are so many of us immigrants who have come to this country, right, after America has been in our country of origins and done a whole lot of things. So let's be clear here. None of those folks who have migrated to this country has anything to be ashamed of at all. Because I can tell you, everything south of Mexico, the United States have had a footprint in every single one of these countries and have done quite a few interesting things in every single one of these countries. So therefore, to have those who have the ability to migrate here, however they could or can, there will be absolutely no shame that should be applied. They have come here and worked harder than most, created much more than most. And for this woman who have accomplished nothing of substance in life other than imaginary political acumen, to think that she has the ability to go ahead and do this, I'll tell you something, brothers and sisters. It's a shame and a scar on this country. And the fastest we can get from under this evil regime, the faster we can get from under, and we can start that in 2026, the quicker we can recover a stature that is necessary to be recovered to move forward. This criminal administration, with a whole bunch of evil thugs, from their ICE thugs to their administration of grifters, and grifters sound too good, administration of thieves, it's something that we must rid ourselves of. Anyway, folks, let's see. What have we got here? Para ver. Michael Ruddin says, Egberto, what do you say to Mike C, who describes empathy as destructive? Look, Mike C's words have no value. I love that Mike C is here because some seed may eventually scatter in whatever he has inside of that skull and maybe breed some humanity, maybe breed some anti-racism, maybe breed something value. I don't cut people off. I encourage people to come. But the evil within the administration also lives within his head. So I have nothing to say to that about empathy being destructive. That's another phrase that they have learned from the right-wing media. It's about, the Powell memo taught that, Michael Rudnin, and this is not for Mike. Who cares what Mike Cisak has to think? He doesn't say much from upstairs. Let me tell you what I do want to say. These people, I had lunch this weekend with a MAGA person. I had lunch this weekend with a MAGA person, and I have a tape of it. I'm going to try to get some it's long because we're there, I don't know, a couple hours or so. And the lack of critical thinking was astounding. And the other person that was there during this meeting, the three of us, a MAGA person and a Green Party person, he was banging his head and he told me, God, I don't know how you do it, Egberto. And I tell you why, because I have empathy. I have empathy for even folks that have shown the degeneracy that you see from Mike Cisak in the chat. I even have empathy for him because I feel sorry for him. Okay? And any day he gets out of his evil funk, I will be there as a support system for him. Because all of this we got to do together. All of this we got to do together. I know a lot of people don't see it, but we all in the long run in the same boat. And even as these folks don't understand that they're being screwed by their ideology, we have to be there. So that's where I stand. I got another video that I want to put out there. And this one is, I was proud of this senator because what he did is he challenged Dana Bass. Dana Bass, the shooting at Brown University in Rhode Island, they attempted, Rhode Island has strict gun laws. So Dana Bass thinks she's going to get to the senator by saying, well, Rhode Island has tough laws. And I want you to see how the good senator answers Dana Bass, not only on why it is that even as Rhode Island has tough gun laws, why it is that we can still get the criminality from guns, but at the same time, the criminality of Trump as responsible as well. I want you to listen to this and then we'll take it on the other side.
Rhode Island has some pretty strict gun laws. They have universal background checks, red flag laws, waiting periods to purchase a gun. So this is about, and we've talked about this, much more than gun violence. It is gun violence, but the laws could be stronger, but they're stronger than other places in Rhode Island.
Well, but the laws do make a difference. I mean, if you look at states like Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, California that have stronger laws, we have gun violence rates, murder rates, mass shooting rates that are 2 to 3 to 4 times lower than states that have loose gun laws. And many of the weapons that are used in our states for gun crimes come to our states from those states that have an ability for criminals and people with serious mental illness to buy weapons. So what we know is that stronger laws do work. And since we passed that bill in 2022, the first bill in 30 years that strengthens the nation's gun laws, gun violence rates and mass shooting rates have come down in this country. But this is not shocking because over the last year, President Trump has been engaged in a dizzying campaign to increase violence in this country. He is restoring gun rights to felons and people who have lost their ability to buy guns. He eliminated the White House Office of Gun Violence Protection, and he has stopped funding mental health grants and community anti-gun violence grants that Republicans and Democrats supported in that 2022 bill. So he has been engaged in a pretty deliberate campaign to try to make violence more likely in this country. And I think you're unfortunately going to see the results of that on the streets of America.
That's a pretty big statement. He's in a campaign to make violence more likely.
Of course. I mean, he's knowingly restoring gun rights to dangerous people. He is cutting off grants that have bipartisan support to try to interrupt violence in our cities or to try to get necessary mental health resources to families and children in need. The evidence tells you that when you stop funding mental health, when you stop funding community anti-gun violence programs, when you give gun rights back to dangerous people, you are going to have an increase in violence that is knowable and that is foreseeable.
Well said, Senator. And you see, he did it with so smooth he did it, right? He went ahead and said, look, it's the other states that won't create laws. Nobody stop anybody from coming into any state, so they can bring all their problems. Red states bring all their problems to the blue states that have good gun control. And then, of course, we have a president that promotes a whole lot of crap, It's amazing. It is amazing. So I really enjoyed that. A lot of what we're seeing is Democrats are starting to, how should I say, not just fight back, but actually are not afraid to really come on out and say things the way that they are. Okay, Michael, I remember in the beginning you had a whole lot of videos that you wanted. I think I may have some time to go ahead and play them. So let me scroll to the top. By the way, just before I play them, no music, right? Before I play them, I don't want to go ahead and I got a couple of hits of them. No music. Let me hear what your response is, Michael Rudnan. Anyway, let's see. All right, let's see what you got for me. Para ver. Okay, we'll go ahead and try that. Okay, I think I may be able to put that on. Okay, let's go ahead and hold on.
Make Chicago look like it was Gotham. So you're telling me that the ICE raid that happened at the South Shore Apartments in Chicago, where they tried to make Chicago look like it was Gotham City and they were saving the city, wasn't even about immigration, and it was more about money and this government trying to help Wells Fargo be able to acquire the property so they can foreclose on the property and then clear out the property and then rebuild another apartment building where they charge money and rent that no one can pay and gentrify the area, because that is always what this country is trying to do, is always make more money. So you're telling me that.
Let me just say something. Here's what A. Gulf said. YouTube shorts are not a source. Let me tell you how I use these shorts, not only the shorts from YouTube, but from TikTok and from Instagram. And let me point out, let me get this off the screen, because there is a lot of, I want to straighten this out with regards to how I use shorts. I trust that Rudnan, when he gives us some shorts, qualifies some of the info. And I did hear about that building foreclosure, etc., the attempt to get the building. But the great thing about TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Live, and many other platforms is that they democratize news. They crowdsource news. There's a lot of junk out there, So when I'm informed, and let me tell you, I found a lot of new material on Instagram, on TikTok, and all these other platforms. Of course, I have secondary sources to corroborate what I'm watching before I bring it to you. This is important because for a long time, we were governed by mainstream media and what they decide to tell us. And we all know now how corporatized mainstream media has been. And if you listen to my program this morning, you'll get the chance to see how indoctrinated people are, how they think about capitalism, not because of that it doesn't work, but because of what they were told about how it works. And a good friend of mine called in and surprised me that he believed the capitalist had the right for that infinite amount of money that he makes. A friend of mine, an intelligent friend of mine. All of this comes from the indoctrination that we have gotten year after year from our schools. When we talk about the infiltration of school, church, media by Powell Memo, it has done that. Now that we have all these other platforms can come out with stuff that you can do secondary research on and validate it. Patrick says, I chase down the original video if I like the shorts. Many times a short is off a longer video. Yeah, I do that too, right? I make videos and then I turn some of my videos into shorts with the expectation that people will go to the original or the longer part of my videos as well. Like when I talk about Medicare Advantage or whatever, sometimes it's 13 minutes long. I will get sometimes 4 shorts out of that, and then people will come back and see the actual thing. But folks, do not discount those platforms. Use them wisely. Use them wisely. Let me get back to the other short that Brother Rudnin put here, and I trust this one doesn't have music as well. Let's go ahead and do it.
United States military veterans in the 2024 election.
All right, let's go ahead and do this.
Trump over Kamala Harris by a United States military veterans in the 2024 election voted for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris by a 60-40 margin. Donald Trump and his administration have already eliminated 30,000 employees from the VA this year. And they just announced that they're going to eliminate another 35,000 employees from the VA that's going to consist primarily of doctors, nurses, and mental health professionals. So what I've learned from all of this is that 60% of United States military veterans are just as fucking stupid as 80% of American farmers who voted for Donald Trump 3 times. In 2016, electing him to his first term, where he completely fucked American farmers. They voted for him in 2020. He lost. They voted for him in 2024. He won. His tariffs have completely fucked American farmers, whose economic losses this year are going to be somewhere around 44 to $45 billion because of Donald Trump's tariffs. So Donald Trump is going to bail them out of their $44 billion in losses by giving them $12 billion. And today I learned that 60% of American military veterans are just as fucking stupid as that. Because Donald Trump wants to eliminate the VA. He has already fired 30,000 VA employees. He's about to fire another 35,000 VA employees that are going to be primarily doctors and nurses and mental health care professionals. So, for every single farmer who voted for Donald Trump and for every single military veteran who voted for Donald Trump, fuck you. Have the day you voted for. Racism is expensive, guys and gals. Racism is expensive, and I hope you all fucking choke on it.
I am a bit more civil than that, but the message is quite accurate. I wouldn't quite say it that way, but the message is quite accurate. Let's see what else we have to hear on this.
Warned that the current administration squatting in the Oval Office is exaggerating their job numbers. In a press conference, Powell said that staffers at the Fed think that the government could be overestimating the numbers of jobs created by 60,000 each month. Basically, they're lying about them. With published figures stating that the U.S. has added an average of 40,000 jobs each month since April, the true numbers could be closer to a loss of 20,000 jobs a month. We think there's an overestimate in these numbers, Powell said at the conference, which followed a policy meeting at the central bank. So I'm going to put that in, normal terms for you. The motherfuckers are lying to you. The economy is shit. The GDP is down, and we are losing fucking jobs. I know everybody in the fucking world is lying except for Trump. Fuck.
Okay. That is for my who should I say? My Gen Z folks. Anyway, folks, look, we're at the 4:00 time, which comes near the end, and I hope you enjoyed the show. We had a lot to talk about today. I brought you a lot of material, and I still have a lot more that I accumulated over the weekend. So we got a lot to talk about over the next few days. Look, it's the Trump administration, for all practical purposes, is over. They're doing as much grift as they can right now, and that is something that we have got to work on. They know they got to grift as much as they can over the next year because, again, the hearings are coming out of Congress, and when the hearings come, there is going to be a whole lot of sunlight on a whole lot of stuff because they are going to be losing both the Senate and the House quickly. And I mean, the House is going to turn over in Trump's parlance bigly. The House will be turned over, I repeat, bigly. And the Senate is going to be won. We're going to win Ohio. We're going to win Texas. Of course, we're going to hold on to Georgia. And I am looking at some races in the Midwest. I'm still doing some looking at it. We'll see exactly what materializes out of that. But when it comes to Ohio and Texas, I think Ohio and Texas will be ours. Anyway, folks, let me tell you, I'm at the end of the show. Please remember to support the program however you can. The way to support the program is to become a paid subscriber to our network, our Egberto Off the Record newsletter. And how do you do that? You do that by going to Politics Done Right. Either if you're already on Substack, just subscribe and become a paid subscriber on Substack. It'll give you that option. If you're not on Substack, go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and become a paid subscriber. It's like getting a coffee, like a coffee. Think about that. And in doing so, you support so much. Because if you look at the body of work that's produced here, and let me just, for those of you who've never gone to the body of work, if you go to this link here, you'll see all the things that we do, from the articles, books, to the platforms. So the platforms not only on mine, but on other places, you can find it. So anyway, please become a paid subscriber, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Got to get out of here. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.